Hello Pink Collective and welcome to Pink After Dark. Tonight's tales blur the line between true and fictional, so get comfortable, turn down the lights and let's begin. Babysitter Wanted. I hadn't babysat in a long time, not since freshman year when I had gotten too busy for school and drama club to keep it up. But now at 17 and saving for a car, I was desperate to rebuild my client list. So when I got a message through the local babysitting app for someone in Hillcrest Estates, I especially jumped at my phone. The pay was good, really good, and the address made my heart skip. Hillcrest, where the doctors and lawyers lived, where every lawn looked professionally maintained and every house could be on the cover of Architectural Digest. I told myself, this is my comeback. Say yes to everything, build a reputation, get recommendations. I should have asked more questions. The house was even more beautiful in person. 3 stories of cream-colored stone and tall windows that glowed gold in the twilight. The landscaping was immaculate. Sculpted hedges, a fountain in the front circle, solar lights lining the curved driveway. I felt underdressed in my jeans and hoodie as I walked up to the enormous front door. I rang the bell and waited, clutching my phone. The woman who answered barely looked at me. She was maybe 40, blonde, wearing an expensive-looking dress that didn't quite fit right. Like she'd lost weight recently and hadn't had it tailored. Her eyes were red-rimmed, distracted, almost frantic. "You're the sitter?" she asked, already stepping aside. "Yeah, I am." "The baby's already asleep," she interrupted, waving me inside. "Upstairs, second door on the left, there's a monitor in the living room." I stepped in the foyer, my sneakers squeaking on the marble. Everything was pristine, white walls, modern art, a chandelier that probably cost more than my mom's car. But everything felt off. The air was stale, like the windows hadn't been open in weeks. What time will you be back?" I asked. She was already heading towards the back hallway, purse clutched under her arm. "Late, maybe midnight. Don't go upstairs unless you hear crying. Don't move around too much, just stay downstairs, listen to the monitor." I wanted to ask why. Why wouldn't I check on the baby? Why shouldn't I move around? But she was walking so fast, heels clicking on the tiles. Then she stopped. She turned and looked at me, really looked at me, and her face crumbled for a second like she might cry or scream. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Before I could respond, she was gone. A door slammed somewhere in the back of the house. Then I heard a car engine start and fade into the distance. I stood there in the foyer, suddenly very aware of how quiet everything was. I told myself, rich people were just weird. That's what everyone said, right? They had their quirks, their odd rules. Maybe she was one of those helicopter parents who wanted everything done exactly her way. Still, I wanted to at least see the baby, make sure everything was okay. I climbed the wide staircase, running my hand along the smooth banister. The second floor hallway stretched in both directions, doors closed on either side. I found the second door on the left, slightly ajar, a soft nightlight glowing inside. I pushed it open slowly. The nursery was perfect. Pale yellow walls, a white crib with delicate lace trim, a rocking chair in the corner, stuffed animals arranged on shelves, and in the crib beneath a knitted blanket I could see a gentle rise and fall of breathing. Relief washed over me. The baby was fine, sleeping soundly. I didn't go in, didn't want to risk waking them, so I just watched for a moment, then pulled the door, almost closed again, and headed back downstairs. The living room was massive, vaulted ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the backyard, a sectional couch that could seat 10 people. The baby monitor sat on the coffee table, its screen showing a grainy view of the crib. I could see the blanket moving, still breathing, still asleep. I settled into the couch, pulled out my phone and started scrolling. no Wi-Fi password, but I had data. I texted my mom to let her know I'd arrived safely, then pull up TikTok. The house was so quiet, no ticking clocks, no hum of refrigerators, no distant TV, just the faint static of the baby monitor. I tried to focus on my phone, but I kept glancing at the monitor. Something about the silence felt wrong, like the house was holding its breath. I didn't know how long I sat there before I heard it. A cry, soft at first, just a whimper though. The monitor speaker, then louder, a baby's wail, sharp and instant. I jumped up, my heart racing. The screen still showing the crib, but I couldn't see movement now, just static, filled image. I ran upstairs, taking the steps 2 at a time. The nursery door was still ajar. I pushed it open, already reaching for the light switch. The crib was empty. I froze, stared. The blanket was still there, rumbled like something had been underneath it, but no baby. What? I whispered. Panic crawled up my throat. I yanked the blanket away, checked under the crib, looked in the corners of the room. Maybe the baby had somehow crawled out? But the crib rails were high, too high for an infant. Then I heard it again, crying. But not from the nursery, from down the hall. I ran towards the sound, my pulse hammering in my ears. The crying was coming from a room at the end of the hallway, a door that had been closed before. I threw it open. A guest bedroom, perfect made bed, empty closet, no baby. But the crying continued, now from back towards the stairs. I spun around, stumbling in my confusion. The sound moved again, shifted like it was coming from everywhere and nowhere. I followed it into another empty room. Each time I arrived, the crying stopped, and each time I paused to catch my breath, it started again, somewhere else. I tried to call 911. My phone had no service, not one bar. I ran downstairs, found a landline in the kitchen, an actual corded phone on the wall. I picked it up, no dial tone, just silence. I slammed it down and ran to the front door. It wouldn't open. I twisted the door bolt, yanked harder. The door didn't budge, like it had been sealed shut. I ran to the back door, same thing, locked from the outside, or jammed. The windows wouldn't open either. I was trapped. The crying had stopped. I stood in the kitchen, breathing hard, trying to think. Maybe this was some kind of prank. Maybe the woman was testing me. Then I noticed the photos. They were everywhere. Framed on the walls, arranged on mantels above the fireplace, family photos, professional portraits, candidates of vacations and parties. All of them showed adults, couples, groups of friends, wine glasses raised, beaches, mountains, no children, no baby, not a single one. And the woman who let me in, the blonde woman who hadn't looked at me with her red-rimmed eyes, she wasn't in any of them. I don't know when I started hearing the footsteps, soft, deliberate, upstairs. I stood at the bottom of the staircase, my whole body trembling. The sound moved from the room to room, slowly, methodical, like someone was searching or watching. The crying started again, but this time it was different, closer, not from a room, from right above my head, like someone was standing on the ceiling. I looked up, nothing. But I could still hear it, directly overhead, a baby's wail, muffled and wet. Then it moved behind me. I spun around, nothing there. It circled me, the sound shifting around the room like it was tethered to me, following me. That's when I understood. It must be speakers placed all around the house. There was no baby. There never was. Someone wanted me here, and they were enjoying this. I tried everything. I broke chairs, I smashed it against windows. The glass didn't even crack. I screamed until my throat was raw. I searched every room for another phone, another way out. Nothing worked. As the hours dragged on, I started noticing other things, small things. A plate in the kitchen with food that had rotten, mail piled by the door, dated weeks ago, dust on the furniture despite how clean everything looked. No one had lived here in a long time. The house had been staged, prepared for me. When the crying stopped for the last time, the silence was worse. I sat on the couch in the living room, staring at the baby monitor, the screen still showing the empty crib, the rumpled blanket. and then slowly the image shifted. The camera tilted down towards the floor, down towards something I couldn't see, then went black. A sound came from behind me, breathing. The police did eventually come. The woman who hired me, a stranger, they said she was lured to the house with a promise of work. But what she found was a man who knew everything about her, and if she didn't do what he said, he would kill her children. However, the guilt consumed her. She barely made it home before she turned around and went straight to the police station. But they arrived too late. When they broke down the door, the house was empty. No sign of a struggle, no sign of me. They searched for days, weeks. My face was on every news station. Posters went up all over town. My mom still goes to the vigils. And now, when people walk past those missing posters, when they see my face smiling in my school photo, they don't know I can still see them. I watch from the windows of the house. I hear the detectives when they come back to check the property. I see the for sale sign that never seems to bring any buyers, because the house doesn't want anyone else. It only wanted me. And now I'm the one who cries in the empty rooms, waiting for someone new to answer the door, waiting for the next babysitter, because the house still needs one. It always will. If tonight's story stayed with you, become part of the Pink Collective by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, Pink Collective, stay curious, stay safe, and stay pink. And remember, be a leader, not a follower. Unless it's somewhere dark, have someone else go in first.